Look around you. Take a moment to truly see the world you inhabit. You're likely sitting in a comfortable chair, in a climate-controlled room, bathed in the soft glow of a screen. If you're hungry, you can walk a few feet to a refrigerator filled with an abundance of food that would have been unimaginable to a Roman emperor. If you're sick, you have access to medicines that can cure diseases that have plagued our ancestors for millennia. By all objective measures, we are living in a paradise. We have conquered the ancient enemies of humanity. We are safer, more comfortable, and live longer than any humans in history. So why are we so sick? Why are we suffering from an epidemic of chronic diseases, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis, obesity, anxiety, that were virtually non-existent for most of our species' existence? According to Harvard paleoanthropologist Daniel Lieberman, the answer to this profound and disturbing question lies in a deep and dangerous mismatch. Our bodies and our brains, which were forged over millions of years of evolution to thrive in a Stone Age world, are now living in a space-age environment for which they are completely and utterly unprepared. In his epic and eye-opening book The Story of the Human Body, Lieberman takes us on a breathtaking journey across 6 million years of human evolution. He tells the story of how we got these amazing bodies and why our own brilliant success is now making them sick. Today on Geeky Philosopher, we are going to explore this deep history. This is not just a story about the past, it is the essential user's manual for your own ancient body, and a crucial guide to navigating the perils of our modern world. To understand our modern problems, we must first journey back in time to understand the world that built us. For 99.9% of our history on this planet, we were hunter-gatherers. Our bodies are not just a product of that environment, they are a perfect, beautiful, and intricate reflection of its challenges. Lieberman walks us through the grand story of our key evolutionary adaptations, the series of brilliant innovations that made us human. The story begins around 6 million years ago when our ancestors made the first radical leap. We stood up. The evolution of bipedalism, walking on 2 legs, was the foundational change. It was less efficient for sprinting but incredibly efficient for long-distance travel, allowing our ancestors to forage over vast distances. This new way of moving reshaped our entire anatomy. We developed the beautiful arch in our foot, which acts like a spring, and a long Achilles tendon, another spring that stores and releases energy with every step. Our gluteus maximus, our butt, became huge, not for sitting but to stabilize us while running. These changes, Lieberman argues, didn't just make us good walkers, they made us the single greatest endurance runners in the entire animal kingdom. We evolved to be marathoners, capable of literally running our prey to the point of exhaustion in a practice called persistence hunting. This new, active lifestyle required a new way of thinking. Over millions of years we developed huge, energy-hungry brains. This brain was a supercomputer that allowed us to create sophisticated tools, to communicate with complex language, and most importantly, to cooperate in large, complex social groups. This was our ultimate survival tool. And what fueled this active body and big brain? A diverse, hard-won diet? We were true omnivores, eating a vast array of fruits, nuts, tubers, and the occasional precious prize of hunted meat or scavenged marrow. 2 things were incredibly rare in this environment. Sugar, found only in seasonal ripe fruit and honey, and salt. Our bodies therefore evolved to crave these scarce and valuable resources. For millions of years, this was the template that shaped us. We evolved to be active, social, and adaptable creatures, perfectly tuned to a world of scarcity and constant physical challenge. For a very, very long time, this was our story. Then, about 12,000 years ago, in a few select places around the globe, we made a decision that would change everything, forever. As we've discussed in our summary of Sapiens, this was the agricultural revolution. And Lieberman, looking at it from a purely biological and health-focused perspective, agrees that it was a catastrophic mistake. It seemed like a good idea. Instead of wandering around searching for food, why not just grow it in one place? But this seemingly brilliant innovation had a host of unintended and devastating consequences for our hunter-gatherer bodies. First, our diet, which was once incredibly diverse, became dangerously narrow. Entire civilizations became dependent on a single, starchy staple crop: wheat in the Middle East, rice in Asia, corn in the Americas. This led to the first widespread epidemics of malnutrition. The skeletons of early farmers are consistently shorter and show more signs of disease than the skeletons of their hunter-gatherer ancestors. For the first time in history, we see widespread evidence of cavities, a direct result of a high-carbohydrate diet. Second, the labor of farming was brutal. It led to a host of new skeletal problems like arthritis and bad backs, and because we were now living in crowded, permanent, and often unsanitary villages, infectious diseases spread like never before. But perhaps the most insidious change was the sudden abundance of simple carbohydrates. Our bodies, which had evolved over millions of years to treat sugar as a rare and valuable treat, were suddenly being flooded with it, day after day. This, Lieberman argues, was the beginning of a profound and dangerous mismatch. We had taken a Stone Age body and dropped it into a farmer's world, and our biology began to struggle under the strain. For thousands of years after the agricultural revolution, things stayed relatively stable. The mismatch was there, but it was manageable. But then, just a couple of hundred years ago, in the blink of an evolutionary eye, the Industrial Revolution hit, and it put our evolutionary mismatch on hyperdrive. If the agricultural revolution changed what we ate, the Industrial Revolution changed how we moved, or rather how we stopped moving. Suddenly we had machines to do almost all of our physical labor. A body that was designed for a life of walking 10 miles a day, of digging, climbing, and carrying, was now sitting in a chair, in a factory or an office, for 8 to 10 hours a day. We had created a world of profound physical ease, a world our bodies had never experienced and were not prepared for. At the same time, we invented new, even more powerful ways to process our food. We learned to mill flour into a fine white powder that our bodies could digest almost instantly, causing massive blood sugar spikes that our pancreas struggled to handle. We learned how to refine sugar from cane and beets, turning what was once a rare luxury into a cheap, ubiquitous commodity that was added to almost everything. We created a paradise of comfort and convenience, a world of soft chairs, comfortable shoes, and an endless supply of cheap, sugary, processed food. A paradise for our conscious desires, perhaps. But for our ancient hunter-gatherer bodies, it was a profoundly alien and dangerous environment. This is the absolute core of the book's argument. Most of the chronic, non-infectious diseases that plague us in the developed world today are what Lieberman calls mismatch diseases. They are the direct, logical result of our Stone Age bodies living in this new space-age world. They are diseases of a civilization that has become too successful for its own good. Let's look at a few key examples. Take type 2 diabetes. Our bodies evolved in a world of scarcity, a body that was incredibly efficient at taking any excess energy and storing it as fat, was a body that was more likely to survive a famine. This brilliant survival mechanism has now become a fatal flaw. In a world of constant, cheap, sugary food and very little physical activity, this efficiency at storing fat leads to obesity, insulin resistance, and the metabolic chaos of type 2 diabetes. It is a disease of an ancient survival circuit going haywire in a modern environment. Or take osteoporosis. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors had incredibly strong, dense bones. Why? Because from a young age their bones were constantly being subjected to the healthy physical stress of walking, running, and climbing. This stress is what signals the body to build more bone. You build up a bone bank in your youth that you can draw from in your old age. Our modern sedentary lifestyles, especially for our children, fail to provide this necessary stress. We arrive at old age with a depleted bone bank, leading to the fragile bones and devastating fractures of osteoporosis. This mismatch is everywhere. Our modern cushioned shoes weaken the muscles in our feet, leading to problems like flat feet and plantar fasciitis. Our constant exposure to the close-up work of reading and screens is a major cause of the epidemic of myopia or nearsightedness. These are not diseases of aging, they are diseases of civilization. They are the logical consequence of a mismatch between what our bodies are and what our world has become. So what is the solution? Is the book an argument for us all to abandon civilization and return to a life of hunting and gathering? Of course not. Lieberman is not a Luddite. The solution is not to go backward. The solution is to be smarter. It is to use our incredible modern scientific brain to understand our ancient Stone Age body and to make more conscious and intelligent choices. We don't need to invent a new trendy paleo diet. We just need to use our knowledge of our evolutionary past as a guide. We know our bodies are designed for a diverse diet of real, whole foods, so we can choose to eat more of those and less of the hyper-processed, sugary foods we did not evolve to handle. We know our bodies are designed for a wide range of daily physical activity, so we can choose to get up from our chairs, we can choose to take the stairs, we can choose to walk, to run, to lift heavy things, not as a form of modern punishment, but as a way of giving our ancient bodies the stimulus they were born to crave. The profound message of the story of the human body is ultimately one of empowerment. It is a call to become a more intelligent and compassionate user of your own incredible 6 million-year-old body. By understanding the deep evolutionary story of how we got here, we can finally gain the wisdom to navigate the challenges of our modern world, and to build a future that is healthier, happier, and more aligned with our own ancient nature. This book is a journey into the deep history that is written in your own bones, your muscles, and your DNA. It is a powerful reminder that we are all beautiful ancient animals, doing our best to live in a strange, new, and often mismatched world. If you are a seeker of this deep, scientific and philosophical understanding of the human condition, then you are a part of this conversation. Consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we are dedicated to exploring the ideas that help us live more wisely in our modern age. Thank you for your time.